Welcome back to another video. Now, in front of me I have a Lenovo laptop. Now this is a 14-inch ultra portable laptop that was designed for classrooms back in 2013. I got my hands on one pretty cheap, and I'll say cheap as in $10 cheap. The reason why obviously is condition, and number two is that it was at the tip being thrown out. So I salvaged it, and well, as you can see by the condition, it's not looking the best. So let's have a look at it, and we'll get to that little bit in a second. So Lenovo, all the scratches because it was owned by a student and has been thrown around, etc, etc. There's a little light for the Wi-Fi there. Now there's this rubber coating sort of around the laptop. I don't know, they thought, well, if a kid drops it, it's not going to damage or anything like that. They were wrong. SD card, HDMI out, standard USB 2 port, charger port. Now we're getting into the interesting bits. Hinges, battery, and oh yes, there is a cable tie in there. I will explain that. VGA out, some vents which I didn't clean out. Two USB 3 super speed ports, a Ethernet port or RJ45, and a headphone jack. No microphone. Oh, it's a bit of both. And on the back we can see that it's not in the best shape. Scratched and some dings there and stuff from it being dropped, but otherwise it's in one piece at least. Now the battery is it was shoved in to place, so the little prongs don't really connect up, so I can't do much. I have to run it off an AC adapter. That doesn't matter though. And opening the laptop up, yeah, now you can see the extent of what we're dealing with here. So yes, we have the keyboard, which is missing keys. I don't think I'll be using the function key anytime soon, or the little track point thing, but the keyboard's there and it does work. This piece here was completely gone when I got it, so it was as it was. Luckily the power button's still intact, so I can switch the thing on. The hinge was actually popped out like that. So I poured a whole heap of super glue in there and put a cable tie in, and I think it works. So currently this Lenovo Thinkpad X130 is a classroom ready and durable laptop, as we discussed before. Released in 2013, it's running an Intel Celeron 107U processor, which is a dual-core processor with 2 meg of cache, and it is clocked at 1.5 GHz with a TDP of 17 watts. It is based on the Ivy Bridge architecture. It's also got 2 gig of RAM and a 320 gig hard drive. It's also just got Intel HD integrated graphics. None of the fancier ones that come with the i3 and i5, etc, etc. The ones that come with Pentium and Celeron, because we're running a Celeron. Should have a resolution of 1366 by 768, but we will check. So as you can see, the specs are listed there. Intel Celeron, blah blah blah, 2 gig of RAM. Config, we can play around with the various options in the BIOS, but we don't really have to do terribly much. However, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to upgrade this slightly, so then we can actually play some games on this. Now I know what you're probably thinking, it's a piece of crap, literally. It's not meant for gaming, whatever. But for a spooky Halloween special, I'm going to run some horror-themed games on this and see how they fare out. Various ones from FPS to third person. What could possibly go wrong? Let's get to upgrading this. Also, I just want to point out as well, look at that. I saved that hinge with a whole heap of super glue and a cable tie. I feel proud. That's really impressive. So now we're going to upgrade the laptop with a 500GB hard drive, which I salvaged out of some other laptop, and a 2 gig stick of RAM, which I salvaged out of another laptop as well. So let's go ahead and rip this thing open. You can also see that there's only just one rubber foot on it. That's why it was rocking back and forward. And we are in. Alright, so let's put our 2 gig stick in. 2 gig sticks in. Now let's replace the hard drive. And here's the old drive here, which we're going to replace. Hard drive has been replaced with a 500 gig that I showed you before. Alright, so we went ahead and upgraded this laptop to 4 gig of RAM and a 500 gig hard drive, so let's see what happens when we switch it on. Will it work? Yes, it does. And we can see that now we have 4 gig of RAM, and is it detecting my hard drive? We'll see. So since there's no operating system on this laptop, we're going to have to install one. So let's choose Windows 7 using the key that's on this laptop. Hopefully it still works. Alright, now that everything is installed on the laptop, let's see how long it takes to boot up. And this is just a standard boot up with the basic applications installed. So there's terrible marks that are up here as well. And we have booted up. Obviously not the greatest result in the world, but it'll do. Okay, now with testing of games, what we're going to be doing is playing every single game on low, and then as another test, play them all on completely high. As for browsing experience, it's actually not too bad. I would have expected worse, but yes, it can. Browsing is quite fun on this, quite snappy. And the Windows Experience Index, we have 4.6, so processor is rated at 5.4, memory is 5.9, graphics is 4.6, gaming graphics is 6.2, and the hard drive is 5.9. Now as for the games, let's get started. And this is the first game, Silent Hill 3, played at 1024 by 768 on low, pretty much getting 30 FPS minimum and 60 FPS high. I don't know why it fluctuated, but just the way the game runs, I guess. I then went back and bumped up the rendering resolution to the maximum that I could in the config settings, and this was the result. Next up we have Painkiller. This one's also played on the same resolution as the previous game. Used to love playing this game all the time, and it actually ran pretty well. Definitely playable. And then this is on high, and it is definitely playable. It is really, really good. Even though it is a game from 2004, for a $10 laptop, you can't really go wrong, can you? Next we have Left 4 Dead 2, which is using the Source engine. Now I thought this would pretty much cripple the computer, but no, it actually runs quite solid. I did record a little bit more footage of me jumping out a window, but for some reason it didn't save. Then I maxed it out completely, and once again I thought it was absolutely going to decimate the system, but no, it ran quite fine. Look, it's laggy, but it's certainly playable. If you tweak the settings just a little tiny bit, you would probably get a better result, but just for this test specifically, I put it on all high settings. And next we have F.E.A.R, which I used to play this a lot. Mainly, I used to test this on computers before I sold them to make sure that the graphics card was actually running quite good. And I thought this wouldn't run on the system at all, and once I bumped everything down to low, it ran almost flawlessly, which I was very surprised with. So far this laptop is proving to be quite decent with older games. And now I've put it on absolute high, maxed out the res, and yeah, it's not that playable. we get a few frame spikes here and there, like right now it'll just bump up and then it just dies straight back down again. But once again, if you tweak the settings just a little bit, you'll probably get an optimal result, and you'll likely be able to play this game quite smoothly. A bit higher than low settings, I guess. And finally, Crisis, my favourite. Yeah, this was at medium settings at 1024 by 768. I couldn't run Fraps for some reason. It just didn't want to show the on-screen display. I tried Afterburner as well. That didn't work, obviously, because of integrated graphics. But this provided a definitely good playing experience. I could probably play the whole game with these settings on this little laptop. I honestly, you know, everyone says, oh, Crisis isn't going to run on this, and well, it does. But for the laughs, I did turn everything up to very high, and this is a result. Fraps still didn't want to work. So definitely a bit unplayable here, but at least you know that it actually can run on this. I think that joke's very washed out by now. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the Lenovo Thinkpad X131e. Very, very decent laptop for what I paid for it. For normal tasks, for browsing experience and casual games, it's actually quite fine. If you put an SSD in it, it would probably run a lot better, but since I only paid $10 for it, I'm not going to justify putting an SSD in it, of course. But it's a good little laptop just to sort of throw around and have for the office or whatever. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it now, and I apologize for the quality of the video recording, because I just didn't want to have OBS or Fraps recording it and using system resources, that's all. So yeah, I apologize for that. Anyways, see you in the next video. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like, and you can subscribe if you want to see other tech related stuff and other random things that I'll have a look at. So I'll catch you in the next one.